the last lecture, we have discussed about the series resonance, and we have seen that resonance is nothing but a condition in an RLC circuit in which the capacitive and reactive impedances are equal in magnitude, and we resulted into a purely resistive network. Or simply we can say that at resonance we got XL is equal to XC, where XL is equal to omega naught of L. I will write omega naught also or omega R also, as I have derived here with the omega R, so I will write here omega R of L, which is the resonant frequency in the radian per second, is equal to 1 by omega R into C. So from here you can conclude that omega naught will be equal to 1 by root of LC. And if I want to, okay, it will be omega R, and if I want it to be F bar or the resonant frequency in the hertz, it will be 1 by 2 pi root of LC. So this is all we have discussed in the last lecture. You can find the video in the I button on the top right corner. So today I'm going to discuss few curves related to the resonance. It could be the curve of the current with respect to the frequency, or the curves related to the different impedances, resistances, or reactances with respect to the frequency. Now, if I take the case over here that the combined impedance Z, because we have earlier discussed that when we have more than one impedances, as over here we have resistance, we have the reactance of an inductor, we have a reactance of a capacitor. So these will all be represented as ZR, ZL, and ZC, where ZR is nothing but equal to R, ZL is nothing but equal to XL, or I will write here J of XL, and ZC is equal to minus J of XC. We have already discussed the operator J role over here. It just tells us the phase difference. If it is positive, it tells us the phase difference of plus 90. If it is negative, it tells us the phase difference of minus 90, right? So we have already discussed. So from here, I can say that the combined impedance of this circuit, which is a combination of ZR, ZL, and ZC, can be represented as Z is equal to R plus J of XL minus of XC. So this is important. This is the combined impedance of a series RLC circuit. But when we discuss the resonance, this part XL will be equal to XC, or we can say that the imaginary part will be equal to 0, and we got only the resistive part, or only resistance will be there. So there are few conclusions or few properties in a series resonance that I want to discuss before going further to the different curves. So first one is that the circuit impedance Z is minimum and equal to the circuit resistance R. Definitely when Z, in this case, in this scenario, when XL will be equal to XC, definitely at resonance the Z will be equal to R. So this is quite obvious, and this R is the minimum value, so I can say that the Z will have the minimum value at resonance. Second is the current. We all know the value of the current I is equal to V by Z. Now if Z is minimum, can I say my I will be maximum? So from here I can say that the current at resonance will be the maximum value of the current in the circuit for different frequencies, because the Z is minimum. So second is also clear to you now. Third point is the power dissipated. Now what is the power dissipation in a circuit? If we go back to our previous formulas in terms of voltages, I can say power is equal to V square by R, or in terms of current, if I say, it will be equal to I square into R. Now, if I have to find the power dissipation at resonance, again at resonance, I need to find the value of R, which is constant for every frequency, but the value of the current is different. Means at resonance, if I go back to this previous one, where I have considered, or I have said that this current is maximum, can I say at resonance, my power will be equal to I max, that's the maximum current, square into R, or simply I can say the power that will be obtained at resonance will be maximum power. It means power dissipation in the resonance case, or at the resonant frequency, will be maximum. Current is maximum, but the impedance is minimum. Fourth one is the resonant frequency. This is already we have obtained that it is equal to 1 by 2 pi root of LC. The next one is the voltage across inductor is equal to opposite to the voltage across capacitor. Yes, it is very right, because we know that resonance, it tells us the rate of change of the energy between the energy storage elements, or between the inductor and the capacitor, because we have here two energy storage elements. One is this inductor and second is this capacitor. Now if I have to look at the values of these voltages, the voltage across an inductor VL will be written as I into XL, right? And similarly the voltage across this capacitor can be written as I into XC. Now, as XL and XC are, you can say the one is at low value, other will be definitely at a high value, one will be at the high value, other will be at the low value. But at resonance, if I'm talking about the exact value of its at resonance, so at resonance, I said that XL is equal to XC and I is equal to I max. It means if I substitute these two values in the case of VL and VC, can I conclude that VL will be equal to VC? And this is what we had said here, that the voltage across an inductor is equal and opposite to the voltage across the capacitor at resonance. Last one is the power factor. What is the power factor? It is cos of phase difference between the voltage and the current. If I take this phase difference is phi, then definitely the value of the phi will be 0 degree, right, at resonance. Why it is 0 degree? Because at resonance, what is happening? The effect of reactive impedance and reactive inductance and the reactive capacitance will be cancelled out each other, and the total reactance will be equal to 0. Or you can say here the imaginary part in the Z will be equal to 0, where you will be left with only a resistive network. If I have only a resistive network, then can I say my both voltage and current are in phase with each other, or their phase difference is 0? If their phase difference is 0, then can I say the power factor, which is equal to cos of 0 degree in this scenario, will be equal to 1. So we will find this power factor is equal to 1 at resonance, or in the other terms we can say the phase difference is equal to 0, because in this scenario our circuit is purely resistive. Is it clear to you now? Yes. So next I want to discuss about the different reactance curves, as we had here two reactances XL and XC. So I'm going to discuss these two curves with respect to the frequency. Now look here, I have plotted here XL with respect to the frequency f, and we know that XL is equal to 2 pi f into L. It means at low frequencies, or at f equal to 0, XL will be equal to 0. At f is equal to 0, you can say that the XL is also 0. Whereas at a higher frequency, the value, it is proportional to the frequency, so its value must increase. So can I say that I will find its values at f equal to 0, and it will increase linearly because it is directly proportional to the frequency. So from here I can conclude that the reactance value increases linearly with the frequency. Right. Second one, if I discuss XC, XC is equal to 1 by 2 pi f into C. Now, if I take the first case at f equal to 0, then can I say my XC is equal to infinity? Now, infinity cannot be denoted in a graph. So you can see here in this graph, at exactly f equal to 0, I can't predict my value. Somewhere at infinity, its value will be equal to infinity. I don't know where it is. मुझे नहीं पता यहाँ पे infinity कहाँ पे है. So I have just not touched it this with the y-axis. Similarly, at f equal to infinity, what is the value of XC? It is equal to 0. Now, if the value of f is infinity, I don't know where it is infinity. That's why this curve has changes, which is not linear in this case. It is changing here, and at last it is not touching your frequency curve, because it will touch or it will become 0 exactly at infinity. I can't denote my infinity over here. So that's why both at this point and this point, I cannot touch my x and the y-axis. Right? So this will be the curve of my capacitance. So from here we can say that it decreases with the frequency, and it is largest at the low frequencies, or at the 0 frequency. Its value is infinity. Right? These are the two important curves for the reactances of XL and XC, or for the inductor and the capacitor. Next one is the variation of reactance and impedance with frequency. Now we have already studied XL. We have also studied XC. Now two more important things are there. One is R, and the third one is Z. So let's discuss these curves also. Now let me first take this case of R. R is a resistance which is constant with respect to the frequency. It means with the change in the frequency, its value must not change. So if I take this the frequency on the x-axis and my R, X and Z values on the y-axis, I will find there will be a particular value of the resistance which remains constant for all the values of my frequency. So this will be my resistance curve. Now second, if I want to plot the XL and XC, which I have already discussed, so this will be my XL and this one is my XC curve. So both these curves are already discussed. Now XL is okay, XC is done, R is done. Now let's move on to the Z value. What is Z? Z is equal to, or if I simply denote here the magnitude of Z, it is equal to under the root of R square plus XL minus XC whole square. So it means this R is Z is depending upon the value of the resistance and the difference of XL and XC. Now at the low frequencies, if I take at F equal to 0 or at low frequencies, what is going to happen to the value of the or the magnitude of the Z? At F equal to 0, can I say my XL is 0? But in this case, XC is equal to infinity. It means the difference of these two frequencies will be very large, and when it will be squared and overall value will be taken, can I say the magnitude of Z is almost equal to infinity? Or from here, can I conclude at low frequencies, magnitude of Z is very large, because the difference of XL and XC is very large in this case at the low frequencies. So in this curve, if you find, this is my mod Z curve and this value is very high. It is not touching somewhere this y-axis, because at infinity, this value will be there at F equal to 0. So I will just start my curve from here like this, as we have done in the earlier case, and try to do it like this. So this curve will start from here, which will not touch this y-axis, and it will decrease with the increase in the frequency, because as frequency is increased, जैसे से हम frequency को increase करेंगे, what is going to happen? XL will start increasing and XC will start decreasing. Due to that, this difference of XL minus XC will also start decreasing, and due to that the magnitude of Z will start decreasing. So you will find this magnitude will start decreasing up to a particular frequency. And what is that frequency? Cutoff frequency, sorry, the resonant frequency. What is happening at the resonant frequency? We said that at resonance or simply at FR, our XL is equal to XC. अगर XL XC के इक्वल हो जाएगा, it means the difference of XL minus XC, this value will be equal to 0. If this value is equal to 0, can I say the magnitude of Z will be equal to R? And it means exactly at the resonant frequency, my Z curve will touch my resistance curve, and these 2 points will be the point where my impedance or the resonant impedance is equal to the resistance. Now after that, what is going to happen? If we further increase the frequency, what will happen? The difference will again start increasing, because now the XL will be larger than the XC. Before the cutoff frequency, what is the scenario? Your XC was greater than the XL, but now after the cutoff frequency or the resonant frequency, not the cutoff, a resonant frequency, your XL will be greater than the XC, and again the difference of XL minus XC will be large, and your magnitude of Z will again start increasing. So you will find this curve to be start increasing, and it will reaches to this. So these are the few curves that are important, and on the basis of this we can have few conclusion. First one is at resonant frequency, magnitude of Z is equal to R. This is all we have discussed. Second, below the resonant frequency, your magnitude of XL is less than the magnitude of XC. So can I say my circuit will be capacitive, because जिसकी वैल्यू ज़्यादा होगी, जिस रिएक्टेंस की वैल्यू ज़्यादा होगी, पूरा का पूरा RLC सर्किट जो है वो उस तरह बिहेव करेगा. So it will be, you can say it is more capacitive, and in the case of more capacitive, we know the power factor is leading, and in this case the power factor will lead. Third case is when we are moving after the resonant frequency, or the frequency is greater than FR, then your XL will be greater than XC. Now it will be more inductive, the circuit is more inductive, and the power factor, in the case of, I have already studied, in the case of inductive circuits, the power factor is lagging, right? Or in the pure inductor circuit, the power factor is equal to 0 degree, or simply the phase difference is equal to 90 degree, right? So these are the curves of the reactance and impedances with the frequency. Now let's move on to the phasor diagrams. Now in the phasor diagram, we are also getting the information related to the phase along with the magnitude of this. So in the phasor diagram, we can see here that we have three scenarios where XC is greater than XL, XC is equal to XL, that is resonance, and XL is greater than XC. It means we are discussing here three frequencies. One is the frequency below the resonant frequency, one is after the resonant frequency, and exactly third is the at the resonant frequency. So below the resonant frequency, the circuit is more capacitive, and we know that when circuit is more capacitive, if we see, as we have discussed in the last lecture, this is, or if I take it in the terms of the impedances, is XL minus XC, or in the downward side I will say it is XC minus XL. I will take the magnitude. Why it is there? Because if XC is greater, then this magnitude will be positive and it will make your overall impedance Z by the power factor leading, or you can simply say here the voltage will lead or current will lead the circuit. Whereas in this case, your factor theta or the whatever phi, if you want to take theta or phi, whatever, so it will be in the anti-clockwise it is taken positive, and in the clockwise it is negative. So it over here we will get theta to be negative, and in this case we will get positive. So it means on the depending upon the value of XL and XC, if XL is greater, we will say the theta is positive. If the XL is less than XC, we will say that theta is negative. So on the basis of that, whatever the value will be there, we will take that portion. If we take the above upper portion, then we will consider that XL is greater than XC. If we take the lower portion in this one, then we will consider that XC is greater than XL. Definitely these are, I'm talking here about the magnitudes, right? So in this case, the phasor diagrams, they have also shown us the same thing. They have shown us this Z, which is nothing but having a phase difference, or you can say a phase of minus, because it is in the clockwise direction. Whereas when XL is greater than XC or above cutoff, above resonant frequency, this phase difference is, or this theta is, or phi is plus 90, plus in the positive side, because it is moving in the anti-clockwise direction, right? So from here also, with the help of this phasor diagram or with the help of this phi, if it is negative, we will simply say it is capacitive circuit. If this phi is positive, we will simply say it is inductive, right? And if it is 0, then we will simply say it is purely resistive. So from here also we can conclude the same thing. Now next important here is the current in a series RLC circuit. We know what this is. A current. Current is nothing but equal to V by Z. But whenever I have to discuss this current, I need to tell the phase angle also, because this combined RLC circuit will have a phase, and that phase phi is equal to tangent inverse of XL minus XC divided by R. This is the phase difference or the phase angle. Now if I write here magnitude of I, then it is okay to write V by Z. But if I want I value, then I need to write the phi also. It means I will write here V Z with the angle phi. Or in the other case, I will write I is equal to V angle minus of phi. When I will take this phi to the numerator, it will be minus divided by the Z. So if I substitute these values, I will get I is equal to V as it is. Value of Z is, you all know, it is R square plus XL minus XC whole square, and angle is minus of phi. What is phi? I will write the value from here, tangent inverse of XL minus XC by R. Or you can substitute the value of XL and XC as omega L and 1 by omega C, which I have done over here, right? So this is the value of my current. Now if I want the value of the current at resonance, so definitely at resonance this XL will be equal to XC. Over here also XL will be equal to XC. Then can I say I will be equal to V by R. This term will be 0. This term will be 0. It means tangent inverse of 0 is 0. It means I will write here angle of 0 degree, or simply I will write I is equal to V by R. So this is the value of the current at resonance, and it is the maximum value. So I will write here Im is equal to V by R, right? Next is the variation and the magnitude and phase of the current with frequency. Now we have only discussed here the magnitude and the phase. Now let's plot them with respect to the frequency, that how it is going to affect. Will it increase or decrease? So as I have concluded that I is equal to, I will write the complete formula once again. It is V by under the root of R square plus XL minus XC whole square into angle of minus tangent inverse of XL minus XC divided by R. So this is my current formula, right? Now if I want to see, or if I start from at low frequencies, I can say here that XC will be very, very greater than XL. Or as a special case, if I take f equal to 0, then can I say that xc is equal to infinity and xl is equal to 0. Now in this case, you will find here that I will be almost equal to 0 because this ratio xl minus xc will be very, very large. We'll see here the magnitude of xl minus xc will be almost equal to infinity, right? So from here I will say that I will be equal to 0 degree. Second one, if I increase the frequency, then I will say at high frequencies, XL will be now very, very greater than XC. It means again, in this case, if I take the extreme case, that is f equal to infinity, can I say my I is equal to 0? It is not 0 degree, it is only 0. So I will be 0. It means if, but this is the case at f equal to infinity. So these are the two cases. One more case I will take at f equal to FR or the resonant. Then that is already we have obtained that I is equal to maximum value is there, I max is there, which is equal to V by R. It means at low frequencies, my value of I will be starting from 0 and it will be small. It reaches to the maximum value at the resonant frequency, which is equal to V by R, and again it will start decreasing and reaches to 0 value at f equal to infinity. So can I say this will be my curve which is starting from 0 point, it is increasing from here and it is reaching to the maximum value. It means this point over here will be nothing but equal to V by R. And from this point it will again start decreasing and it will reach to a 0 value somewhere at infinity. So this is the magnitude part of my current, where I have just shown you the magnitude effect. Let's discuss the phase effect also. Now what is the phase? If I take the phase, this phase is, I use a different color now. So this phase is tangent inverse of XL minus XC by R. It means if I start from lesser frequencies where XC is very, very greater than XL, then can I say that this tangent inverse will have a negative value because XC value is very large. Due to this large value of XC, the overall value of tangent inverse will be tangent inverse value will be minus, and this minus will be added with this and result into a positive value. It means I will get a positive phase shift, or I will move towards the plus side. So exactly at the capacitive circuit, I have plus 90 degree. So this is that point exactly at capacity. When this will be exactly capacitive, when XC will be infinity and XL equal to 0. So definitely at F equal to 0, I can see here that the phase difference will be of 90 degree. But as I am moving further or I am increasing frequency, what is going to happen? XL will start increasing and XC will start decreasing. Due to this effect, the 90 degree phase shift will start also decreasing and it reaches to a minimum or the 0 value at resonance, that is where my circuit is totally resistive, or at F equal to F0 or FR. जब आपके रेजोनेंस पे आप पहुंच जाएंगे, then the XL is equal to XC. XL का XC के होने के कारण उसका इफेक्ट खत्म हो जाएगा और सर्किट रेजिस्टिव हो गया. इन द रेजिस्टिव सर्किट वी नो द फेज डिफरेंस इज 0. इट मींस यू हैव चेंज्ड फ्रॉम 9 plus 90 degree to the 0 value. And as I will go further or after this resonant frequency, now my circuit will act more inductive because the value of XL has now become greater than the XC. It means my phase difference will start increasing but in the negative side, and you will see here that it reaches to a value of minus 90 degree somewhere at the infinite frequency. So you will find this minus 90 phase difference where my XL will be, in this case, if I take this case, here my XL will be infinity and XC is equal to 0. So this will be occurring at F equal to infinity. So this is my phase curve or the phase shift curve with respect to the frequency in a series RLC circuit. Right. Now next I want to discuss about a very important term, that is a quality factor. Why factor? This quality factor is very important because it tells us the sharpness of the resonance in the resonance circuit. Means if I take the case of my current with respect to frequency curve, so in that case we have seen that the current increases to a maximum value and it start decreasing from there and reduces to 0 at F equal to infinity. Now if we see here, this curve is not much sharp in comparison to this curve. If I draw a curve like this, then this will be more sharper. So it means if I have been if I go to a market and want to buy a radio, the shopkeeper will give me different types of show me different types of radio. Sir, ye hai. Then how I will decide? So I will check the quality factor of the system, because higher the quality factor of the system, the higher will be this sharpness, or the more sharp the system is, more better it will be, because in the radio we need to receive a particular frequency and we need to amplify it. We don't want the disturbance of the other channels also. So for this system to have a, you can say, the high quality factor, its peak should be very sharp. So this peak is defined by this quality factor. This quality factor relates the maximum of the peak energy, this peak energy which is corresponding to this point, which is stored in it, to the total energy dissipated in this cycle or in this resonant cycle. So from here we can define this quality factor Q as, it is equal to 2 pi into peak energy stored in the circuit divided by the energy dissipated by the circuit. So if I take the case of this RLC series circuit, and if I have to find the quality factor, I would say here that this Q will be equal to 2 pi, as it is peak energy stored. This is the energy, total energy stored at this point. It could be equal to half CV square, or it will be equal to half Li square. Any of these two can be taken. I will take half Li square for reference. It will be half Li square divided by energy dissipated by the circuit in one period. So it will be equal to 1 by 2 I square R into 1 by F naught, where F naught is the resonant frequency. This is the formula of this total energy dissipated in one period at resonance. So if I take these values and cancel out these common terms, I will get, this will be equal to 2 pi F naught into L by R, and which can be written as omega naught L by R. Or if I would have taken the half CV square, it will be equal to 1 by omega naught C into R. And if I solve it further, it will be equal to 1 by R root of L by C. This is also another formula. So these all three formulas are used for the quality factor. One more formula will be there, that is based on the bandwidth. I will tell you later. So these three formulas are used. So we will find various numericals on the quality factor if either of these values are given, and depending upon the values given to us, we can make use of any of the formula. So this quality factor is nothing but telling us the sharpness of the resonant in the resonant circuit. So which tells us about the quality of that circuit. Better the peak, or more sharp is the peak, more will the quality factor and better will be the circuit. Right. Now next to this is the bandwidth and the half power frequencies. Now this is very important term, half power frequencies. Many of the interviews it is asked that what do you mean by half power frequency and why they are called. Now as the name is showing that the power is being halved, it means if I have a power at one point P1 which is equal to half of the other power P2, then that point will be called as the half power frequencies. Now let's discuss that where these are used. Now if I take this again, the current curve, which is this one, you can see here with the blue color, I am drawing it with the with the green color. So this current curve is changing with respect to the frequency, and we know that this current is maximum at this point. This point is I max. Now if I have to find the bandwidth, we all know that we take those values or up to that frequency where the maximum value has reduced to 1 by root 2 times. It means if I take this point, the current over here will be I max by root 2, and same is for this point. Right? It means if I take the power at this point, let this power, okay, I will take this power is P max, which is equal to I max square into R. And if I take this power, let this power be the P1 power, it will be equal to I max whole square divided by root 2 whole square, that will be written as 2 into R. And if I compare these two powers, can I say that P1 will be equal to half of the P max? So the power where it will be, or I will say the points or the frequencies where my power is reduced to half to the maximum power, that point is called as the cutoff frequency point or the bandwidth point. Exactly on the both sides we will find the power to be half, because this is the maximum point. यहाँ पे भी डिक्रीज करा, यहाँ पे भी, तो यहाँ पर भी एक पॉइंट मिलेगा हमें, यहाँ पर भी एक पॉइंट मिला जहाँ पे हमारी पावर क्या होगी, हाफ होगी. Or in the other way I can say that current has reduced to 1 by root 2 times, and those 2 points or those frequencies are known as the cutoff frequencies. Or if I have to find the bandwidth, I will say the bandwidth of this system will be equal to omega 2 minus omega 1. So half power frequencies जो है वो कहाँ पे फ्रीक्वेंसीज कौन सी हुई, जहाँ पर आपका पावर क्या होगी, हाफ होगी। तो हाफ पावर फ्रीक्वेंसी इज नथिंग बट यूज फॉर द कैलकुलेशन ऑफ द बैंडविड्थ। हम कभी भी एक पॉइंट को नहीं कह सकते, हमेशा सिस्टम की एक रेंज होती है। देयर इज अ range of frequencies, I must say. So how we calculate that range of frequency? It is nothing but only those frequency ranges are calculated where our power is greater than half value of the maximum power, or the current value is greater than the I max by root 2 values. So from here this half power frequency term is introduced. One more term is used, that is the 3 dB frequency. What is this 3 dB frequency? This omega 1 and omega 2 are called as the 3 dB frequencies, because if I consider this power in dB, then I will find here that there will be a drop of 3 dB at these 2 points, that is at omega 1 and omega 2. That's why these 2 points are called as the 3 dB frequencies. Right? Now, the impedance of this circuit, which we have already concluded, equal to R plus J of XL minus XC. XL minus, just a minute, XL minus XC. Now this is the impedance of the circuit. Now if I have to find the impedance at this omega 1 and omega 2 point, I will simply say that the value will be equal to root 2 times of R, or this is Z at omega 1 or omega 2, it will be equal to root 2 times of R. What is the reason behind that? Because Z is equal to V by I, and I would write here I max. Now if I have to find Z omega 1 comma omega 2, it will be equal to V by, what is the value of current at this point? It is I max by root 2. What is V by I max? It is equal to R. So can I say that this value will be equal to root 2 times of R? So from here we can calculate the impedance at my 3 dB frequency or at the half power frequencies. This is only the magnitude. यहाँ पे मैंने सिर्फ magnitude की बात की. If I have to discuss the phases of there, so over here I will find a phase difference of 45 degree, plus minus 45 degree phase difference will be there, or a phase angle will be there, right? So if I have to write this value of Z omega 1 comma omega 2, it will be root 2 times of R with the angle plus minus 45 degrees. So this will be the exact value, where magnitude is defined by root 2R and the phase angle is defined by plus minus 45 degrees. Now next to this, I want you to remember these formulas, the half power frequency formulas. These half power frequency formulas means the frequency values at where the power has reduced to half. So this is one formula, omega 1 is equal to minus omega R by 2q plus omega R under root of 1 plus 4q square. These formulas are used, if you find here only this minus and plus sign changes there. Rest of the things are same for this omega 1 and omega 2. Now these formulas are used where the value of resonant frequency and the Q is given. Now in some of the questions you will find the values of R, L and C. So in that case your omega 1 will be equal to, I will write here plus minus, omega 1 and omega 2 will be equal to plus minus R by 2L under the root of plus under the root of R by 2L whole square plus 1 by LC. You can take omega 1 equal to plus R by 2L plus under root of R by 2L whole square plus 1 by LC, and omega 2 equal to minus R by 2L plus under root of 1 R by 2L whole square plus 1 by LC. You can use both these formulas. So I want you to remember these formulas because you will find a lot of questions on the half power frequency, especially on the series resonance. Now one more important formula is there, that the Q factor can also be defined in terms of the bandwidth and the resonant frequency. So your Q factor Q is equal to omega R, that is the resonant frequency, divided by your bandwidth. Now if you want here the resonant frequency in radian per second, this bandwidth must be in the radian per second, or I will write here omega R divided by omega 2 minus omega 1. If I want this to be in the frequency or in hertz FR, then I will write here FR divided by F2 minus F1. So don't get confused कि एक जगह पे आप FR की वैल्यू पुट कर रहे हैं, दूसरी जगह पे omega 2 and omega 1 की वैल्यू पुट कर रहे हैं. There you can say units must be the same. Then one more formula is there. This resonant frequency can also be determined with the help of these two cutoff frequencies, where omega R is equal to under root of omega 1 comma omega 2. Right? So this is all about your resonance. I hope that you have understood it properly.